What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 6 team builder, taking on Necro and the London Lycanrocs. Necro played in Blitz last season and then promoted up to Zubstrika by making finals and unfortunately losing in the finals to Gareth. His team consists of Lunala, which is not allowed to have Roost or Z moves on it, Mandibuzz, Tentacruel, Mienshao, Bronzong, Raichu, Mega Charizard X, Clefable, Mamoswine, Lurantis, and Persian. He's got priority options in the Mienshao with Fake Out, the Mamoswine with Ice Shard, and the Persian with Fake Out and Faint. Hazard setting in the Tentacruel with Toxic Spikes, the Bronzong with Stealth Rocks, the Clefable with Stealth Rocks, and the Mamoswine with Stealth Rocks. Removal options, the Lunala gets Defog, Mandibuzz with Defog, Tentacruel with Rapid Spin, Charizard X with Defog, and Lurantis with Defog. And his 4x weaknesses are just the Lunala to Ghost and Dark, both of which are essentially covered by the Mandibuzz. So that's going to be a really tough core to break, the Lunala plus Mandibuzz. And to semi-regard the Bronzong, although Bronzong does share all of Lunala's weaknesses, the Bronzong Clefable is what's a little bit more, a little bit more difficult to break. Okay, so in terms of what I'm not expecting to come, I don't really think Lurantis or Persian come. Lurantis, not because it's necessarily horrible like Persian is. Persian's really bad, by the way. I built him a Persian set a couple weeks ago, and it's not even slightly good as a Pokemon. I'm still speed creeping it with 1-2 things, but it's not relevant. Yeah, so Lurantis has a very difficult matchup against my team. Defensively, it can't check anything, and offensively, it can't break through me. So that sort of puts it in a tough spot because it needs a resistance berry, but it's weak to Darmanitan, it's weak to Heracross, it's weak to Celesteela, it's weak to Kyurem-Black, so it's weak to Drapion. Like, there's too much that it's weak to as a pure grass type that I don't think that it ever comes against me. So realistically, I probably only have to prep for 9 Pokemon on his team. I think that the Lunala is coming for sure. It's got a fantastic matchup against me. Mega Charizard X is definitely coming. I have absolutely nothing to check Mega Charizard X. That is going to be a gigantic pain in the ass for me. Let it be known that that is going to be a huge pain in the ass. Mandibuzz is probably coming. It's his best way to check Mega Alakazam, in my opinion. Tentacruel might not come for the same reason, although it could be his Kyurem-Black answer. I think that Clefable might be his Kyurem-Black answer. His team is definitely really weak to Kyurem-Black on that side of things. Raichu could come as his way to check Celesteela, or a secondary way to check Celesteela. Not sure about that, if he would want to do that or not. Clefable definitely seems like it's a really good bring against me. Mamoswine, I'm kind of iffy on if it's a good bring against me, but it could come. I don't really see a reason why it wouldn't. I'm just not seeing a good reason why it should either. And then Bronzong, I think, comes. It can deal with most of my team. If it does come, I'm not entirely sure if he would want to be Levitate or Heat Proof. It's up to him, realistically. But, you know, if I'm bringing Golurk, I'm going to hit it with a Ghost move just in case it's not Levitate. Or just in case it is Levitate anyways. Celesteela is going to want to hit it with a Fire move regardless. Darmanitan is just going to click Flare Blitz against it. Heracross won't click EQ. Excuse me. And Kyurem-Black has Terravolt and goes through it anyway. So the only thing he would want Levitate for is the Piloswine, and I'm not sure how much that matters. So we'll see if the Bronzong even shows up. It's definitely going to be his best rocking option in this game, in my opinion. I don't necessarily think that Clefable is going to be his best rocker, because Clefable is pressured by Celesteela, and I've got a really unique Celesteela set going on here that I'll get to at the end, because that's the end. So first up on my side here, I've got the Piloswine. I'm going to just take a sip of tea here. Excuse me. Okay, so Piloswine, I'm bringing a physically defensive Piloswine. This can check Mamoswine to an extent. It can check Bronzong to an extent. Like, most of his team is special, so Phys-Def Piloswine doesn't make a ton of sense against this team, but it can definitely take a hit from Charizard X like this. I get an Earthquake off, or Revenge Kill it with Ice Shard, or get a Toxic on it, which would be huge as well. If he's, I don't necessarily know if he'd be sub Charizard against me, because I have a lot of things that he can't sub on that would hit it back really hard, but we'll see about that. Mienshao is going to be a big issue for the team in general. I don't have good Mienshao answers anywhere on the team. So I can probably take at least a high jump kick with this, which is something, but most of the time I'm actually probably going to just have to pick a sack to the Mienshao, which kind of sucks. Because that's not how I would want to play this, but that's how it's going to work out. Unless I can get it paralyzed with Superior, which we'll get into in a second here. So Piloswine's the rocker. Rocks are really important here to break Shadow Shield on Lunala, chip the Mandibuzz down, get 50% on the Charizard X before it comes in, and any other relevant chip against Mons that don't have recovery, i.e. Raichu, Tentacruel, which wouldn't have recovery outside of Giga Drain, Mamoswine taking 12%, especially if it's a Life Orb Mamoswine, that damage is going to rack up pretty significantly there. Things that I don't really care about having rocks up for are the Bronzong, the Clefable, and the Mienshao. Clef is going to have Magic Guard most of the time anyways. Probably will be Magic Guard against my team, I would imagine. Mienshao is going to have Regenerator. Probably, if it's Reckless, then that might be actually a little bit easier for me to deal with. Although if he's Reckless Drain Punch, then that's a different story. But yeah, that's the idea behind Piloswine this week, is that it can just sort of tank a hit from Charizard X and Mamoswine if need be, and move on from there. The rest of the team has to be relatively specially defensive to deal with him. So Superior is next. I'm just running a fast Subseed Glare set with Mono Leaf Storm. This gets walled by a lot of stuff, i.e. Mandibuzz, Charizard X, and the Bronzong all sort of just sit on top of this Pokemon pretty much for free. But the main idea is that I can get Glares off, and he probably will know that I've brought Glare almost every single week with Serp, and he'll bring like Heal Bell Clef. But if I can get around that and not be Heal Bell Clef, then that would be perfect. Plus Subseed is just really effective at wearing down his walls like the Bronzong. I can Subseed things like Lunala that I'm faster than as well, and that makes things a little bit easier. If he's Liquid Ooze, I'm not going to bother Leech Seeding the Tentacruel because he's probably going to be Liquid Ooze for this scenario, and so I'm not going to bother with that. But I'm outspeeding the Raichu with this speed investment. I can take Raichu hits, so it's a good Raichu check. I can take a hit from Lunala, in theory. I can take hits from Clef, which is also in theory. And then this is a solid Lurantis check if it needs to be. Megalakazam is next. Funky little spread here. Excuse me, I'm going with Calm Mind over Recover. And that might seem really strange because it means I'm going to get whittled down really quickly. And actually, I probably should be Recover, and I might change that in a second here if I deem it to be worthwhile. But I figured that a Calm Mind Megalakazam really threatens this. The issue being I need 3 moves to hit his team. So I'm kind of locked into Calm Mind, Barrier, Recover, one of those moves. And I am going to change it to Recover, actually. Because I do think that I would want the healing. I'm a pretty bulky Megalakazam. I'm running enough speed for the Persian, which is not a lot of speed. I could have been timid and invested a lot more into bulk or special attack if I wanted to. It probably would have been more beneficial, to be honest, if I was timid like this. But that's okay. Just near max HP, a little bit of physical defense on there because I want to deal with things like Mienshao as well, and then lots of special attack investment, which should be enough to two-shot things. If I trace Shadow Shield and I'm full health, then he's in for a really, really, really rough time. If Shadow Shield is broken, my Shadow Ball will obliterate the Lunala. So if I have rocks up and I can trace his Shadow Shield and I'm full health, then that is just absolutely massive for me against whatever wants to come in, because then I can just recover stall until I'm up into Shadow Shield range and I get free hits off, and it's broken. But Shadow Ball, Dazzling Gleam, and Psychic is perfect coverage against this team. Shadow Ball is there for the Lunala, which would otherwise resist Psychic, as well as the Bronzong. Excuse me. And then Dazzling Gleam is there for the Mandibuzz, which is neutral to Focus Blast. And it'll also hit the Mienshao, I guess, if I need to, but I've got Psychic anyways, so Psychic is going to hit this team really hard. Modest Megazam is no joke. Next up is Kyurem-Black. I'm running a very, very offensive banded Kyurem-Black, adamant banned Kyurem-Black this week. His speed tiers are kind of iffy, but this breaks Bronzong, Clefable, and Mandibuzz very easily, and that is something that I would like to do. force him into sort of more of an offensive game, because then I think that it means that my Celesteela is open to do a lot more, especially if I can pick up some Beast Boosts. Celesteela is the win condition this week. So Ironhead, Banded Ironhead is there for the Clefable. It can deal a lot to the Mamoswine as well. Banded Dragonclaw does a lot with Clefable dead. And then I've got Shadowclaw on there for Lunala plus Bronzong. It should do an absolute trillion to both of them. I have to note that Lunala does outspeed me, and a lot of his team does relatively outspeed me. I can't imagine something like Tentacruel is going to run a lot of speed against my team, though, so I can count on being faster than something like Tentacruel at the very least. Again, it's mainly going to be the Charizard X, the Lunala, the Mienshao, and the Raichu that will outspeed me. Everything else should be slower than this Kyurem-Black. And I've got Fusion Bolt there to break through the Tentacruel and the Mandibuzz. And Fusion Bolt hits this entire team, bar Mamoswine, because I go through Lightning Rod on Raichu. So I'm Adamant Max Attack. I'm running enough speed for Mamoswine. I didn't deem it necessary to outrun like Adamant Zard X, because I don't think he's going to run Adamant Zard X. I've got a Darmanitan, which would very obviously be Scarfed, and if he's Adamant, I'll outspeed it and be able to Earthquake it after a Dragon Dance, or Rock Slide it if he's in regular form, which would be super sus, but there you go. Tiny bit of bulk on here, just a little bit of bulk, and then, yeah, Max Attack Adamant. So Kyurem-Black looking like a gigantic threat to him. I don't have an Ice move on it, but I don't need it. I thought about running Ice Beam, but it's not that necessary. It really only hits the Mandibuzz, which isn't really relevant when I have Banded Fusion Bolt that, in theory, won't hit it harder necessarily, but utilizes my base attack stat better, unless I was just clicking Raw Freeze Shock, in which case Bronzong gets a relatively free switch into that. Drapions next. I'm bringing an Expert Belt set, an SD set with Pursuit, Crunch, Poison Jab, and Swords Dance. So this can check the Lunala, and Lunala is like probably one of the bigger threats on the it's Lunala Zardex in my opinion, and then Mienshao as like a tertiary threat. But this can check the Lunala. I can always Pursuit Trap it if it's trying to leave. I can SD on other things. Like the Clefable I can probably SD on. I can SD on the Bronzong. And I threaten out both Clefable and Bronzong, which is super good for me. Crunch rather than Knockoff. I don't really mind getting rid of leftovers all that much, but Crunch just does more consistent damage to a lot of other things on the team, especially if it's like Colberberry Lunala, then my knockoff's getting weakened to the 65 power, and so Crunch will do a little bit more, I think. And then Poison Jab is there just for the Clefable, realistically, but it's going to be good neutral damage against whatever else resists Dark, i.e. Mandibuzz and Mienshao. I'm also outspeeding Mamoswine with this, tiny bit of bulk like I had on it's the exact same bulk like I had on Kyurem-Black, just spread out a little bit differently, and Max Attack Adamant. Celesteela is last. This is a really funky spread, and I have to shout out Ben, aka Shiny Stabilize 17, for helping me out with this spread. Good pal of mine, and he adjusted this for me. I had a funkier EV spread, and he adjusted this to be more beneficial to stats, and I actually got more EVs out of this, so big shoutouts to him. He's actually got a video. I don't know if I'll remember to link it in the description, but he's got a video, if you want to search that up, on EV optimization that I checked out afterwards, and it's super informative, really, really interesting. Okay, so I'm in Totemize, Flash Cannon, Fire Blast, Earthquake. So Earthquake is there for Tentacruel and the Mega Charizard X, because I can't really hit them very well with Flash Cannon or Fire Blast, but everything else gets demolished by Flash Cannon or Fire Blast. Fire Blast is primarily there for the Bronzong, but if I need to be able to break through the Lurantis better, then that's there for that as well. And then Flash Cannon, like Steel actually looks really solid here. It's one of the reasons Ironhead it looks really solid on Kyurem-Black as well, because Steel spam is pretty good against most of this team. Earthquake can also be there for the Raichu. I'm not going to outspeed a Scarf Raichu, so Scarf Raichu is definitely a problem, but I am Weakness Policy, so something like Clefable clicking Flamethrower or something like that against me, I will proc my Weakness Policy. Lunala clicking Heat Wave will proc my Weakness Policy. Raichu clicking Thunderbolt, which shouldn't kill me, would proc my Weakness Policy, things of that nature. I'm hoping there's some fire coverage on this team to actually hit me and proc my Weakness Policy. Otherwise, I'll probably be SOL. It might have been better for me to just run a Resist Berry instead in that case, but I'm hoping to proc the Weakness Policy. It means that I can snowball this into a victory a lot faster with Celesteela, and if I lose, I lose. I'm actually not a huge fan of this matchup in general, so I just have to hope that, you know, we can move aside that. My undefeated streak will be over, which is whatever. I'm not really big into that. I just want to make playoffs. and I still have 7 weeks to pick up 2 wins, essentially. Okay, so let's go a little bit more in depth in the spread. This is the exact amount of attack that I need to out... so if the Charizard X is creeping Darmanitan and Kyurem-Black, then this is the amount of attack that I need to OHKO it with Earthquake 75% of the time. With the bulk that I'm expecting from it, which is creeping Charizard or Darmanitan or Kyurem-Black, not necessarily a very bulky Charizard X, but a more offensive Charizard X variant. And then I had a weird speed investment, but this is the same speed investment with Quiet Nature. So it is a boosting nature. I was actually originally a neutral nature, and Ben fixed this to be Quiet Natured. So I'm getting a lot more special attack out of this than I previously was, but I had to invest more EVs into speed because it's a minus nature. So anyways, with this speed investment, I'm outspeeding Persian at +2. So I will outspeed the entire team, bar Scarfers at +2. And then I'll be able to hit really hard with my Flash Cannons and Fire Blasts, which should be able to break through Bronzong. And I've got a little bit of extra HP investment there to live a hit and proc my weakness policy, i.e. hopefully Heat Wave on Lunala. Although, if it's really going sour, I don't have a Scarfer. So that's something to note, is that I'm not bringing a Scarfer. Like, Scarf Superior could have been something to revenge kill Mienshao, right? But I'm not bringing the Scarfer. So it's definitely going to be a little bit sus in terms of that. You know, I've got really good breakers here in the Megalakazam, Kyurem-Black, and then a solid setup sweepers in the Drapion and the Celesteela, but it's definitely more of an offensive approach to this game than I've been taking this season, so we'll see how that benefits me and how that plays out. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Oh, actually, sorry, in terms of what I'm not bringing, I guess I should talk about that. Darmanitan, I was thinking would come on the team. Flare Blitz, just 2-hit KOs this entire team, bar Zard X. It 2 KOs Tentacruel as well. Tentacruel is very frail on the physically defensive side. Heracross does not really have a matchup here. In all honesty, it really doesn't. It can't beat Lunala. It can't beat Mandibuzz. Wigglytuff is just such an un-Pokemon. I'm trying to get rid of it, but there's no better options. Excuse me. And then, like, if I get rid of it for something like maybe slightly better in Tier 5, then I'm out of Fairy, which is not what I want to be out. I'd like to have at least the threat of having a Fairy type on the team, even if it doesn't come all that often. Rotom Wash is a solid Zard X check, except it gets Dragon coverage with Tough Claws. So Rotom Wash, not very good this game. It would have been semi-alright with Protect against Mienshao, something like that. It's a decent Mamoswine check. I'm not as scared of the Mamoswine as I probably should be, just because I think that I can check it offensively really well, because I outspeed it with so many of my threats. Almost all of my threats actually outspeed Mamoswine on the team. I think the only threat that doesn't outspeed it on the team is Golurk, or Celesteela, I guess, as well. But there you go. And then Golurk is not coming, and I don't remember why not. It's actually super solid as a Rock Polish abuser. I just don't know if I can get up the Rock Polish, I think is the reason. So that's the team. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys for the match against Necro and the London Lycanrocs.